kind of relaxation. There's an impressive. What? Okay, I don't understand what you mean with the second thing, but so it's not relaxation. It's a ballad, so I play ballads like that, and I just like to. Instead of practicing with a metronome, I'm just listening for the sound, right? So I'm listening, is the sound good? I mean, a car salesman makes a little bit more money than me, you know? What I'm doing is I'm trying to get a really good sound. So first I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then I'm trying to do a swing, because instead of doing I'm doing this. Happy New Year. I mean, I like it. I like the sound like that. So I'm basically practicing a movement. So I'm trying to get the legato sound. Right, I'm doing the legato sound. Maybe I adjust my snare drum a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. It's a good warm up. I don't want to start with like. I have to warm up first, right? So, and I think playing a ballad is a great way to warm up your brushes. Just playing like this. So that's a good warm up, you know. Just if I start with the fast things, I might start feeling it in my shoulders, you know. But I just warm up by practicing a ballad with the different tempos. And can you hear like 1, 2, and 3? So it's a very slow swing. right? I'm only not very comfortable with how my snare is positioned. And you know, I try to make sure I sit straight and my hands are relaxed. So it's a really good warm-up. Then I feel I'm completely relaxed everywhere, right? So I feel something here for some reason. Right, so when I'm relaxed, I can go to something else. So if I start with this, it already feels, you know, like I feel like I have to do it first slow. So it's about in 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. So I can also practice, like, so I'm doing a certain movement, right? So if I do 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, it's pretty natural because the movement in my left hand comes out well. So if I want to do 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, it feels less natural because I have to go the other way with my left hand and it feels less natural. So I do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is, by just practicing that and practicing different things, I discover some things that I actually can work on, you know. Because brushes, it's not like, okay, you play a parallel and you play these rudiments, you know. So the music might call for cook. I cook, yeah. Why? Why is that? So. One, 2, 3, most natural. And 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So let's try 1, 2, and 3. The same movement. So I'm basically teaching myself. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 1. Because you can have certain patterns from a book or something, but it doesn't mean. Sometimes the tempo of the song, or like, you know, at the moment, you will have to do something else. So like this. So this is difficult. 1, 2, and 2. 1, 2, and 2. So I can speed up my left hand and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Or I can 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. I can do, you know, go the other way. For me, it feels less natural to do, right? So I have to practice that. Right, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So I have to practice the movement so that I'm doing this. doing that with the left hand. So I basically discovered something that I have to practice. Right, because the music might call for it, but I'm not going to be able to do it. So it's 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Right? 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. This is different than 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Sounds different than 1, 2, and 3. Right? Sounds different than that. So 1, 2, and 3. So I basically go this. So 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm practicing to do the swipe motion with my left, right? Okay, it already sounds better than 5 minutes ago, or a couple of minutes ago. So you see I do this, so instead of doing, so I'm used to do this like this, right? So cooking like that. But, so what I have to practice for myself is, like I notice here, right? Good. 1, 2, and 3. It's that I have to practice going out, so going that way, so like swimming, right? Going like that instead of grabbing stuff, I have to go swimming. So. So I have to do a little bit slower. Because if I do fast, then my circle is fast enough to do this. So let's do slower. 1, 2, 3. So this is very important. You never know which tempo you're going to play a song. When you play jazz or improvise, so also things can slow down, speed up. And if you notice, if I do a bit faster, the movement goes like this. So I have to adapt to the tempo, and I never know where actually my brush is going to end up. So I have to be prepared, and like that I can actually know what I have to practice, because like if I slow it down a little bit, my movement becomes different and a little bit more uncomfortable for me. So I have to go. But now I'm already much more comfortable than a couple of minutes ago, and it feels and sounds nice. So a little bit slower. Yeah. Okay, so I did some ballads, so now I can also play. Practice again, out and in. cool when I'm doing awesome. Let's try this inward. Make a different sound. Because this allows me to go like this instead of like that. So. I like this better, so it's a cool. So you see why it's important to practice like both sides sometimes is because if I do everything like this, it sounds like that. So this is what I'm used to. It's not like this. Sounds pretty cool. But if I do outwards, I basically do diagonal from right to left. So I don't really do like this, but I do like some kind of, but I don't do inward. Yeah, man, jazzy. That's what it's all about. Woo! That's like a groove. What are your thoughts on the Wilcoxon is a classic, right? So I did a bunch of Wilcoxon exercises. I never did the whole book. I think it's very, very good, How do you use it? I think it's a great foundation, So you always need the foundation, and on top of the foundation, you can actually do the musical stuff. So if you do the Wilcoxon and you have all the rudiments down, it's a great foundation. And there are some phrasings, you have to like make it swing. So there are some useful things in Wilcoxon for sure. So you can make that as a foundation, and once you get the foundation, you can actually play musically, right? So what you can do is like take just like a little bits, you're never going to play the whole exercise, right? So just take like if there's some rudiments. start of it. So I think it's very important to do a couple of books as a foundation, for sure, you know. With Wilcoxon, of course, Wilcoxon is a very, very, very known book and used by a lot of people. And, you know, if you have to make it swing and you have to separate the accents with the non-accents, so that's very important. Yeah, definitely, like, I definitely recommend Wilcoxon. Other books, you know, like the Jim Chapin book, you know, the Independence book, that's very good also for like independence, for example. Is that what? Coconut? What is coconut? So books, it's good to do books, you know. What is not good is to do too many books. Only books. You know, you have to like really, you have to learn music. You know, so books are good as a foundation. After the books, you have to learn the music. So I did a lot of books in my life, and I think I did too many books, which I don't think is good also. So, you know, you have to do the books as a foundation and then get on with the music. And after a while, like now, I don't practice any books anymore. I listen to the music, but because I already have language from records, you know, or from when I see somebody play live or something like that. So you have to definitely get to that step at some point. But these books are important to have a foundation. Very, very important. Okay, cool. Thanks. Happy you like it. Also depends on how much time you have. Of course, if you start from like 4 or 5 years old or something like that, and with a teacher who has, you know, the discipline, and you as a kid and your parents like kind of have the discipline to do only these rudiments for like the first 2 years, like they used to do it, like, you know, like Joe Morello only did like maybe like stick control book. But, you know, honestly, like if I do only the stick control for 2 years with my students, I will have no students anymore. So, you know, of course, the ideal situation is start very young and do all these foundational books and then, you know, play the music. But, you know, practically it doesn't work like that. And also, if you don't have, we have a limited amount of time. So if you only do books, you will play like from a book, you know, but you have to play the music. Now I'm really warmed up, so I can do some up tempo. I really like this kind of practice is because, you know, mostly I practice, you know, with metronome, or I practice like I listen to record and I try to replicate some licks or something like that, you know, or I practice a song. But this, like in this kind of practice, you always have some, you know, multiple things to really focus on. Okay, metronome, but this I can really focus on, like, you know, just the sound, just the snare drum, you know, and just the brushes, and just focus on very basic stuff. It doesn't really sound good. So, okay, the fast one doesn't really sound good now today for me, so I'd slow it down. So just make sure the basic beat sounds good. If it's too fast, a little bit slower. Just listen to the sound. Okay, I do something. It's also something to practice. How do I want to sound mine? Like if you do the regular sound. If I do this, it sounds a little bit sloppy, which can be really cool. So maybe I want to make it sound a bit more precise. So then I have to play my left hand a little bit different. No, I don't think so. I don't think you have to play traditional for anything. Honestly, you can play everything matched. If you practice matched and you do everything matched, I think actually, honestly, I think, so what I really think is I know a lot of like legendary people say like, you have to play matched, or you have to play traditional. So what you have to remember is that they learn traditional from the beginning, most of them. And once you're used to it, of course, it feels like you have to do it, but I don't think you have to do it. I think you can do everything with matched. You just have to practice it. Because eventually the sound comes from here, more than from here. So if you can adapt your grip, your matched grip to what you hear, it's fine. So I don't think you have to, and especially, what I always think is a little bit strange. Some people play sticks only matched, and then they switch. Wow, some noises in the background. But then they switch only for brushes to traditional. That means their matched is super, super strong, and their traditional is kind of weak. So I feel it's like a disadvantage. So you can practice, and some things like some people say you have to play sideways. And they say, yeah, if you play traditional, it's easier. It's actually not. It's actually easier to play like this than like this kind of movement. So I think Bill Stewart says that it's easier for him to play like that matched, counterclockwise. Instead of, kind of makes sense. So I mean, Max Roach, towards the end of his career, he changed to matched, and he played everything matched. He played, and he sounded great. And of course, if he would have played matched from childhood, he would sound even better with matched, and he would sound the same like with traditional. So So I don't think you have to learn traditional. So what is important for traditional? Why? I was always interested in traditional, so I kind of, once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. That's the thing. But so why for me it's important to have the traditional grip is a lot of times a lot of things depend on the angle of the drum set and how my drum set is set up. And because I can't always carry around my drums everywhere and put my snare in the perfect angle. I play a lot on different drum kits. Sometimes the snare doesn't go high enough, or it doesn't go in an angle, or sometimes I sit in. So there is a band playing and they let me play a song, and then you just go and you play on the person's drum set the way it's set up, and sometimes it's very uncomfortable. So sometimes the snare is tilted like that, and I can impossibly play with matched grip. So I adapt to the situation, and the more grips I know, the more I can adapt. Of course, so you have to be a little bit careful. People who, some people super famous people say, yeah, you have to play this way, but they have a drum tech, and they always have the perfect stance, and their snare is always in perfect angle. And I don't have that luxury. I have to, if I don't have to carry, if there's a drum set somewhere, I'm not going to carry anything because I don't have a car. I have to take the subway in New York, so I have to adapt all the time. And if I have to adapt all the time, I have to use different grips because, just practically, I cannot always set up the drums the way I want. If you practice both and you have both grips, both matched and traditional grips that are weak, that's much worse than to have one match grip that is strong. Just for the principle of, yeah, you have to play jazz, so I have to play match. I think that's completely not true. You can I play traditional. You can play everything match. You just have to hear the sound in your head and make it work, and then like what I did, you discover how you do it. Does it make sense? Okay, now I'm going to go and practice drum set. It was a great warm up. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll do this more often.